WGSN-DB, the Going Solo Network presents with Transformational Life Coach.
Hello and welcome to the Manifest Your Ideal Life show. My name's Angela Kane and I'm your host along with my dear friend and colleague, Mary Tudor. You're listening to WGSN-DB on the Going Solo Network. Both Mary and I are transformational life coaches, and this show is all about how to consciously manifest your ideal life. And over the coming weeks, we'll be exploring all the ways in which we sabotage our happiness and get in our own way, and how to move past that into consciously creating what we want instead of what we don't want. And coming up today, we're going to be discussing emotions, huge topic of emotions, and how they impact our ability to manifest our ideal life. So before we get into this fascinating conversation, let's say hello to Mary. Are you there, Mary?
Hi Angela, lovely to be with you again for another of our amazing conversations. We never really know where they're going,
Yes.
But we always have a lot of insight by the time we've gone through it. Lovely to be with you again, and really interesting that we're going to open up into the topic of emotions today. The last broadcast we did, we touched very briefly on law of attraction. So
Yes,
looking at the principle that we are energetic beings.
Mm-hmm.
And as such, we emit a frequency, energy coming out from us day in, day out. And that frequency reaches out into the universe, and the universe actually responds. It's almost a little bit like a boomerang system. We send out, and what we send out comes back to us. So if we're sending out a really, really positive vibration, the universe will respond with positive vibration back. If we're sending out something which is fairly heavy, fairly negative, universe very kindly sends back very heavy, very negative. So it's that kind of boomerang effect that we need to understand about law of attraction.
I like that boomerang image, Mary. I think that's
Do
really
you like
useful.
that?
Yes, I do.
You like that? Yeah? Oh, that's great. And within that, I think that gives us our springboard to say, okay, emotions. Where do they play a part when we are trying to manifest our ideal life? So where do we begin with that, Angela? I mean, emotions, what are they? Emotions are frequencies, they're feelings, they are vibrations, they are resonances that exude from our bodies.
They are indeed, Mary, yes. And I think throughout my training, I think going back when I was doing my metaphysical training, I think we were taught that feelings come from the emotions. Thoughts and emotions together create the feeling. So that's my understanding of they're very, very closely related, but I remember that that struck in my mind and I'd forgotten about it until you mentioned it there. So it was that bit of the thought creates the emotion, and then the thought and emotion together then create that feeling in the body, don't we? So when we're actually feeling it, we can feel that sensation in the body. We can actually feel the pain. I know I feel it very, very much in my solar plexus most of the time, or in my abdomen. Those are two very, very sensitive areas for me where I feel trauma and pain and upset, and also, excitement and happiness as well. It's not all on the doom and gloom side.
Brilliant.
So that's what emotions and feelings mean to me. It's that actual physical sensation in the body.
Okay, and I think it's really useful maybe for people who are listening to just take a moment and say, if you are listening and you are relaxed and you can say, okay, can I think some happy thoughts? Maybe think of somebody you love, maybe think of a pet, an animal, maybe think of a place that you like to be. And actually, the more you think of it, imagine yourself there for a moment. Maybe you can hear something around. Perhaps you're outside, you can hear the birds singing. Just feel what impact that has on your body and how quickly it happens. You start to instantly feel different.
Yes.
Now maybe, at the risk of being really unkind to our listeners, if we said, okay, think of something that scares you. Think of something that you're worried about. Think about something you're concerned about. Think about something that's really on your mind day in, day out as a worry. Feel how fast you've gone downhill. So that is how quickly emotions can take us up and down the scale. And actually, I think it might be nice to say to listeners, hang on a second, just imagine for a moment you've got a beautiful flower in your hand and you're looking at a beautiful flower, and just bring your energy back up again. You know, just feeling how fast we can go from one energy to another.
Yeah.
And that is why it is so important to understand our emotions when we are manifesting our ideal life.
Yes. Yes.
Because, come back to the boomerang effect of the law of attraction, we want to send out something which is the resonance of what we want to bring back in.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if I want to send out a request to the universe to increase my income, to increase my wealth, to increase my bank account, I need to be in a position where I'm able to send that resonance out to the universe. Otherwise, I can guarantee it will not come back into me. Yeah.
You'll just get more of what you don't want, which is what you'll be worrying about, which is not having enough money.
Absolutely, because I will be sending out a vibration of, oh my goodness, I need to ask for more money because I haven't got. So I'm coming from a place of lack. And when I'm in lack, then I'm in fear, I'm in worry. That's my vibration. And the universe very kindly says, okay, more of the same, more of the same, more of the same.
But I know it's difficult, Mary, isn't it, to, if for instance, say you are worried about money at the moment and you are feeling lack, people are going to be saying, well, that's okay, but I do need money at the moment. We're not saying here that it's easy to change that state, because it's not easy. It is difficult, but it has to happen for you to be able to attract that money in.
Absolutely, Angela, and I think that's the thing. It's not necessarily an easy step to take to bring your vibration into alignment with what you want in life, but it's a crucial step.
It is.
Listeners,
And I think that's what the secret miss, Mary. Reading that many years ago, I remember my, friends of mine saying, well, that's a load of rubbish, it doesn't work, because they all thought they could sit there in their living room and close their eyes and say and then the next day £100,000 would be delivered in the bank account, or do you know what I mean? So then people get the wrong idea and think, oh, this law of attraction lark, it's all a load of nonsense, it doesn't work. But I think that's what they didn't do. They didn't explain that, it's not just the thought, the feeling is much more powerful, and all the other bits that go with it, that's what was missing.
You're so right there, Angela, that there is that aspect, that this piece that was missing. And it is the importance of the feeling. And there was a beautiful piece I was listening to, Natalie Ledwell, who does the Mind movies that our listeners might be familiar with.
Yeah.
And she was saying, it's so precisely for me. She said, most people come at this upside down. And she said, first of all, they say, I want to have the money.
Yeah.
I want to be wealthy in order that I can go on exotic holidays. I can have the new car in the drive. I can buy the second home. And then I will be happy. So she says, have, do, be. It's back to front. The universe doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
What we need to do is we need to be first, then the have and the do are rolling on into us. But we have to look at the be as the way we start off on this. And I think that would be a great thing for us to start to explore in conversation a minute about how
do we be that? Yes.
How do we be that? How do we be that?
Yeah. Well, I think that's a great idea, Mary, because I do think that would be really useful information for our listeners to know about. because it's okay saying this is how you do it and this is what you need to do. But if they're left then hanging and saying, well, hang on a minute, how do I do that? You know, we can't go in very, very deeply during this show, but we can give them a few pointers as to how we can start to do that. But before we do that, I think we're just about time for a quick break.
Brilliant.
So don't go anywhere, because this conversation is going to get even more riveting after the break. And you're listening to WGSN-DB on the Going Solo Network. So we'll be back very shortly with you.
You're listening to WGSN-DB, Going Solo Network, Singles Talk Radio channel, where we take a lighthearted and candid approach to discussions on the journey of relationship loss, divorce, parenting, being single, relationships building, dating, and yes, sex. Join our listeners and begin living your best life.
Hello and welcome back to the Manifest Your Ideal Life show with me, Angela Kane, and my friend Mary Tudor. And before the break, we were talking about emotions and how they impact your ability to manifest your ideal life. And we got onto the subject of, okay, we know we need to keep our vibrations high, but when we're trying to bring in something that we want to manifest, how do we do that, and how do we actually believe that we've got it? How do we actually be in that state so that we can actually bring it in? So we were talking about that just before the break, weren't we, Mary? And we decided that we thought it would be a really good, useful topic to explore a little bit with our listeners, because I know from my own perspective and from that of my own clients, it's something that everybody struggles with. Being before you're seeing type of thing.
Nice little phrase, being before seeing, Angela.
Yeah.
That's great. I think you best tag that one before anybody else. My sense, Angela, is that what we can look at here is different understandings of meanings of words. And if I am wanting to manifest more wealth in my life, the chances are I'm wanting to manifest more wealth because I have a situation where I am feeling that I am in lack. Maybe I need more money. Maybe I'm having difficulty paying the bills.
Yeah.
Often what comes with that, in my experience, is that I start a roller coaster of an unhelpful mindset because I have a bill that I cannot pay, for example, and then I start to worry about it. I start to think about it too much. I get into a belief of I am in lack, I am poor, I do not have enough money. And there is no way that we can vibrationally shift from that into I'm going to manifest $1 million in the next 5 years. It's just not possible, because as we resonate, so we generate. It's what comes back in. So what we need to look at is saying, okay, how can I be in a state of vibrational abundance rather than a state of vibrational lack in order to get the machine rolling? So, okay, if we say my particular focus is, look, I've got a lack of money at the moment, but can I actually say, in these other areas of my life, I've actually got great wealth? So, for example, it might be I have a wealth of love in my family. I have an incredible relationship with my children. I've got a wonderful relationship with my dog, my cat, whatever, a loving relationship. I have a fantastic abundance of love in my life. Perhaps I've got an abundance of freedom in my life because I can make choices about what I do during the day because there's nobody else here to tell me what to do. Or I'm in a situation where I think, do you know what, I live in a country where the rules and the laws and the regulations are such that I can have my voice heard. All sorts of things like that. To find ways where we can say, I feel abundance.
Or you could have an abundance of health, couldn't you? You know, if your health's really good, you can, I mean, that is the most precious thing that we have, isn't it? And if you've got that, you know, you can give, you know, be in a state of appreciation, be in a state of gratitude for your health,
Yeah.
And being in that state of appreciation or gratitude, it instantly shifts your vibration.
It instantly shifts it, Angela, absolutely. And it's what we need to do, because we're looking to actually put out a vibration which is a match to what we want to get back in. And what we're wanting to get back in is not necessarily, we joked about the $1 million in the next 5 years. It's not necessarily absolutely that, because most people say, if you say to them, why do you want that? They say, well, because it'll make me feel
better.
happy, feel better, feel secure, feel safe. And it's actually saying, well, if that's how it will make you feel, what other things can start to generate that feeling in you right here, right now, at this very moment, in order to start sending out to the universe the vibration that you want back in. So if you think that having a lot of money will make you feel happy, then your starting point is to get off the roundabout of I am in lack, I don't have enough money, I can't pay my bills, and gently bring yourself into, but I was feeling really happy yesterday because I had a phone call from a friend that I haven't heard from in a long time, and we had a great time on the phone. Something very simple like that is a moment in which you break the stream of negative lack, which is going out to the universe. Now, we spoke, forgive me, can't quite remember, but I think it's in either our second or third show, we spoke about the 17-second principle. And it's worth going over that again here, because I can think a thought for 17 seconds, and a thought which is of a similar vibration will match it. Another 17 seconds, similar thought, vibration will match it. And by the time that has happened 4 times and we've got to 68 seconds, I have momentum going in energy terms. So I'm on a bit of a roll. So I've only either got to spend 68 seconds in lack thoughts or 68 seconds in abundance thoughts to just shift the wheel. And it's which direction do we want to shift it in? You said in show 1 so rightly, Angela, so much of this is about awareness. And it is about being conscious.
It is about awareness, and noticing how you're feeling, because as soon as those 68 seconds have passed, if you then start thinking, oh my God, I haven't got enough money again, then you're right back down again to square one, aren't you? So, but noticing that is what will enable you to stop doing it and to change the thought again.
Very
and that's the key, isn't it? It's staying in that vibration of gratitude or fun or joy or appreciation, rather than staying in the fear and lack. And in my experience, and probably in yours too, Mary, that most people, and I know I certainly was one of them for well over 30 years, used to live in that place most of the time.
Yes. And I think it's appropriate, as you said earlier, for us to not skate over this point, because there are times in our lives when it feels like it is just all doom and gloom. However, for me, when I hit a patch where I think, God, I'm really struggling to find something upbeat here, I always go back to base principle, and I always accept where I am, and I say, okay, I'm feeling really worried about this at the moment. So, for example, I'm feeling really worried about my health. Okay, will worrying about my health bring me the place and state I want to be? Well, absolutely not. What do I know that will shift my vibration? Okay, I know I'm a vibrational being, and I know that if I can think something that's a little bit better than worry for 68 seconds, I'm going to start momentum going in the other direction. And often it only takes, as the wonderful Esther and Jerry Hick, who channel Abraham, they just say, just lift your oars. Stop rowing upstream. Stop putting the effort in. Just relax and say, that's okay. I know that I'm a vibrational being. I know that as soon as I soften a little bit in my energies and my tricky thoughts, that I will turn and I will start to go downstream. and life will begin to flow more easily for me. And so maybe just picking up that kind of knowledge and awareness and deep knowing, that's the sort of thing that I will use to soothe myself. Until I've soothed myself, I can't start to then come up the ladder of emotions. And as we so rightly know, you can't actually jump from anxiety, fear, worry, straight into gratitude and appreciation. It's really, you're not going to hold it there for very long. So it's better
too big
to
a
actually,
jump.
it's too big a vibrational jump. You're right, Angela. It's better to just go one step at a time and say, does this thought help me to feel a little better? If it does, good. Can I find another one that will join it? It'll make me feel a little
One
better.
thing that I do that really works well for me, Mary, is to play a piece of music that I love, a really upbeat piece of music, you know, and once I've listened to that for, you know, 2 minutes, 30 seconds or however long it lasts, I have completely shifted my state.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And that works brilliantly for me.
Yeah.
Or a quick walk round the block is another thing that that does it for me as well.
And I'm loving you here saying the bit about the music, Angela. And then you said, and I know that does it for me. So that again is something to be aware of, that once we have proof for ourselves, it is so much easier the next time round. So the first time I'm coming to trying to break through my heavy energy about my negativity, about my financial situation. The first time, that might be a little bit difficult. But the second time, I go, okay, how did I move from here before? That's right, I put on a nice piece of music. I went and made myself a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I sat down, I relaxed, I completely lifted my oars out of the struggle of the stream, and I sat down and I went, okay, let me sit here a minute. Right, when I've calmed myself, I've soothed my emotions, then I can say, right, what is one positive thought that I can think of here? Okay, can I get another one? And to gradually work forward until you are a little bit further up the emotional scale. And if people want to look for a reference of a good emotional scale, I've often referred to the Esther and Jerry Hick scale through the Abraham process, which is it's asked and it's given. It's in that book, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I'm sure it's in that because I've got that book. I'm certain it's in that because I know I've seen it somewhere. There's a few different ways, but I do think that's a really good one and quite easy to understand as well. It's not too technical, is it?
No, it's quite accessible for people. And it's also a very useful one for when we're dealing with needing to shift emotions in relationship. Because it does actually obviously have anger in that range of emotions. And a lot of us, when we're in relationship breakup, we've got a patch where we're feeling pretty angry.
Yes.
And it is absolutely appropriate to feel that anger, but know that it is only a vibration that needs to be processed so that you move on up and through it. And actually, there was a friend I was talking to yesterday who was in exactly that situation. Relationship breakup, and it was about being very angry, and she said, what you mean I need to forgive? Not on that level. Go soul
that
to
is
soul.
Another huge topic, Mary, for another show, I think, isn't it? Forgiveness is another huge one, especially with what's going on here in the UK at the moment, and you know that has been it's such a with the bombing yesterday. It's on Monday evening. It's been such a traumatic time for everybody here in the UK, especially as you know in Manchester, which is not very far from where I live, and that's our nearest big city. So the atmosphere is very somber and very angry, and there's been lots of awful things going on, you know, in retaliation to that. But it's a good time for sort of reflection and thinking, well, is it going to do me or the victims or anybody any good to carry on this anger? And, you know, how can I shift out of that vibration so that I can better serve myself and also the community at large? Because walking around with that anger does not help anyone, does it? You know, retaliation is only going to cause more problems, and, you know, from that, possibly more incidents similar to what happened on Monday could occur again. And the only way really for peace is to change the mindset of everybody, isn't it? And to change their understanding. But I think, you know, with the politicians, you know, we're a long way from that, aren't we, Mary? And but, you know, all we can do is look at ourselves and work on ourselves. And that is the best thing I think we can do for the world and for society. And I read somewhere that the best thing you can do for your partner is to work on yourself. And I thought that was brilliant.
It is. It is. And at the end of the day, then everybody benefits. You benefit because you have worked on yourself. And all others in your circle benefit because you have worked in a way which now you're exuding a vibration, which is so much more helpful.
Yeah.
Huge, huge topic, Angela. Whoever thought we would cover all this in one little show?
I know, but you know, going back to shifting your state and shifting your vibration, and so obviously, you know, things work differently for different people. Some people, for me personally, you know, listening to a piece of music is fantastic. It really works for me, or to do a little bit of exercise, or to go for a little walk. Certain people, you know, have a drink or read a paragraph in a book or something like that. There's many different ways you can try to shift this, and it's really about trying different things and seeing what works for you. But I do hope that we've given the listeners something to think about today, Mary, and that and knowing that it is possible, that even if we do feel we're in lack at the moment, that we can shift out of that, so that we can start to attract what we want into our life, and to ultimately be on the road to manifesting our ideal life.
I think so, Angela. And just looking at our whole attitude towards those stronger emotions sometimes, rather than calling them negative ones, those emotions of fear, those emotions of lack, those emotions of worry, softening into how do I respond to my emotions was a really big step for me, and something I often want to come back to with myself, because I go, oh my goodness, there I am, I'm feeling XYZ. And you go, okay, what is that telling you, Mary? That's only telling you how you are vibrating at the moment.
Yeah.
Well, that's cause for celebration, because once you know how you're vibrating, then you can start to make a choice.
Yeah.
And often the choice is to say, I just want to find a way to make a small shift to start vibrating differently. Because as I make that shift to vibrate differently, so I start to attract in a life that I really do want to manifest, not the life that is actually currently manifested for me. And essentially that's based on what happened back there. You're now at this stage. You're wanting to go forward with a new life. So come to your emotions without fear of them. Don't think you've got to be all Pollyanna and happy and cheery all the time. Your emotions are simply telling you, you're on this course at the moment, you're on this track. Can you move it? Can you shift it? Until you close the gap between where you are now and where you want to be. Because your emotions are the starting place to getting everything. It's about being in the state. Then you get an absolute inspired set of actions coming through, and ultimately get into having exactly what you want. I think that understanding is worth running time and time again in our own minds until we get it as, oh, okay, I get this game, I get this game, until we really start to practice day by day, and then the fear of the emotions disappears. The anxiety that I'm not in love, joy, and appreciation 24/7, that disappears, because that's not a requirement either. And we can actually use our emotions very constructively. Say, it's just telling me where I am, and it's inviting me to say, is this the path you want to be on? If not, what's some little thought, some little beliefs that could be changed. And maybe that's a good place for us to kind of draw close to this today, Angela, because I can feel that what opens from here is an inquiry into our thoughts and our beliefs, because that's where you started today, actually saying that's what emotions and feelings are all based on, thoughts and beliefs. And many of us are running our lives on outmoded thoughts and outmoded beliefs. So,
But not even ours most of the time,
No,
that we've just,
I picked up from my dearest mum and dad, my favourite teacher in school, whatever it was. Wonderful.
So, well, let's hope that this conversation has been helpful today. I know it's certainly been helpful to me, because it really, as you said, Mary, it's just so useful and helpful to go over this stuff, because you have to really know it, but know it not just on a, not just think it, but actually really be it, and know it from the core of your being, that this is absolute truth and this is the way the world works. And we have to learn to communicate with the world so that we can actually get the things in life that we want. So before I go off on another tangent, I think we'll say goodbye here, Mary.
Wonderful.
So I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation today, and I do hope that it's been useful to our listeners. And so thank you so much for listening to us today. We both really hope you've enjoyed the show. And you've been listening to the Manifest Your Ideal Life show on WGSN-DB on the Going Solo Network with me, Angela Kane, and my dear friend Mary Tudor. So please do tune in again next week for more interesting and life-changing conversations. So bye everybody, many blessings, and take care. We'll speak to you next week. Bye for now.